This video illustrates some options for categorical fields in the rows or columns areas of a pivot table. You can make these changes from the Field Settings dialog box. You probably won't visit this dialog box as often as you visit the Value Field Settings dialog box for numeric fields in the Values area, which is discussed in a companion video. But you should be aware that the options discussed here are available. I will again use the online purchase dataset for illustration. I have already created a pivot table where sums of total spent are broken down by several fields, 2 in the rows area and 2 in the columns area. Note that if I select an item in any category and then look at the Pivot Table Tools Analyze ribbon, the active field corresponds to the category chosen. I'll go through the 4 possibilities for the current pivot table: region, purchase time, gender, and credit card type. Now I will select a region, right-click, and select Field Settings to open the Field Settings dialog box for the active field. I could also do this from the Analyze ribbon or from any of the drop-downs in the Fields pane, but I won't show those possibilities here. In any case, here is the Field Settings dialog box for the Region field. There are several possibilities. First, you can create a custom name for the field. This is the name that will appear in the pivot table reports. Second, you can elect to show no subtotals for the field. However, subtotals for other fields will still appear. This setting applies only to subtotals for the active field, in this case region. By the way, there are no subtotals for the purchase time field because it is an inner field in the rows area, but I can still turn off its subtotals in Field Settings. Then if I switch the 2 rows fields, the subtotals for purchase time, which would have appeared, don't appear. No subtotals. Alternatively, you can select any summarizing functions you want to appear in the pivot table. In the current situation, all values in the pivot table are sums, so it could be very confusing to request averages for purchase time, as I will do here. However, it could be useful to request several summarizing functions, as I will do now. Third, you can check a fairly obscure Include New Items in Manual Filter option. This controls the behavior of the field if you have manually checked items such as evening and morning for a filter, and then the dataset changes so that there is a new category such as late afternoon. I doubt you will use this option often, if at all. Finally, you can change various layout and print options from the Layout and Print tab. For example, you can show items with no data. However, you can't see their effects until you choose them and then click OK. Again, you might not use the Field Settings dialog box for rows and columns fields very often, but you should be aware that it is available, especially for controlling subtotals for a given field.